try and do a quick update. This is one of my friends you've never seen before, I don't think.
JW.
JW. He's got a calling on his life, but he's yet not been brave enough. His sermon is kind of like told on the videos. And God's called you when you were a young kid, JW?
Yep, to be a minister.
Okay.
Don't know if I'm gonna make it.
Okay. I wanted you to say hi to me. Thank you, JW. I'm talking to Tim for a long time. This is Tim. For maybe the whole time here. Claire, say hi.
Hey, how are y'all doing today? God bless you, and I hope you're having a great, great Mother's Day to all y'all out there. And if your mothers are not with you, remember, you're celebrating Mother's Day anyway, regardless of what is going on. It's Mother's Day. God bless all.
And that's Lil Paisley.
And that's Paisley.
I'm gonna do a quick up. I'm gonna walk a little bit, and I'll do this will be like friends and I gotta get out of the wind. I might walk over here. I'm gonna talk. Oh, I'll give you another one. Let's see if I can get out of the wind somewhere. I wanted to do a little news update. Let's see, maybe I could stand here. It's interesting. Today, I have a lot of friends, on the street, so this would be friends and update together. But one of my friends that I've known for a while, I don't think you've ever really seen him on video, but today, he just walked up to me and said, "Brother, I gave too many cigarettes away already." It wasn't JW. But he wanted to talk, and I sat there for a good 45 minutes and was just talking. And sometimes when people are on the street and they have drug problems, sometimes people do, they get what you call bad stuff. You see, I'm not going to give names. And I could tell, like, they're affected. And so he just wanted to talk to me. He didn't really want the cigarette. And one of his friends came over and said, "Why are you shaking?" And I knew why he was shaking. And that happened actually with someone else the other day. He came up to me and said, "Oh, John, I kind of messed up last night." And I could see in their faces that they, it affects you. And look, people have overdosed, accidentally died. And so that's a sad thing that it's this way in Flower Bluff, but anywhere. It's sad because it's basically drugs, drug addiction. I'll do the little update. By the way, Tim was, you want another cigarette, Glenn?
Yes, Tim walked off with it, Paul.
Tim was showing me a lot of paintings, a lot of pictures he made.
They admitted it.
And he never showed me all that before. And each one was a story behind it. He has like a whole portfolio in that little bag that he had with him right over there. And everyone had a story. And if you listen, and as I was listening, I realized that some of the guys and some of the people also suffer from, they're supposed to be on meds with psychiatric purposes and reasons like that. But as I sat, I realized it was just important to sit and listen. And each picture, one of the paintings he made, these are all drawings he made, they're very nice, very good. One was a serpent on a pole. He had about maybe 80 different paintings. Each one had a message and meaning. But the snake and the pole is what I taught the other day with Reuben and Albert, John 3. As Moses lifted up the serpent in the wilderness. And I said, we were just talking about that. So it was just interesting because he mentioned also, all of my friends have some type of a past with God. Now sometimes mixed in with that is a lot of, some would say there's psychiatric problems, the way they are seeing certain things. Some of my friends have also told me the same stories about things that go on and that sound strange, but I heard it by more than one person. And you could associate things like that with psychiatric problems. But then he said, "John, I was speaking to someone I know that was supposedly a minister, and they're supposed to listen, but they kind of pushed me away." And that was after I was sitting there for about 40 minutes, knowing John, me, you're supposed to listen. And if people, there's scriptures that say, comfort the feeble-minded. Sometimes people are not in their right mind, but at the same time, they're grappling with things. And so you don't agree with every idea that they tell you, but you listen. And so that was a very interesting experience. And some of it, like the little picture, out of many pictures my friend was showing me he made, this means this, and when he pulled up the one he made with the serpent on the pole, it showed me, John, listen. And I'm glad you saw JW. JW's been around for a while. He's friends with a lot of my other friends. Sometimes they get into things. But I remember JW told me a long time ago that he was called to preach. So let me just put this up as friends update. The news that I would update, I'll do it real quick. The big news is the new guy that Trump put in, Mike Pompeo. He was missing in action yesterday. And the New York Times wrote an article and said, if Mr. Trump is going to do such a major national policy thing, which he did yesterday, which was kind of scrapping the Iran deal, the New York Times ran an article and said, Mike Pompeo missing in action, not on the job. The reason he was missing in action, he was actually in North Korea and negotiated the release of 3 American hostages, okay? And normally, if that was Mr. Obama, rightfully there would be praise. And you know, the media pretty much is given disdain. That shows you bias. Some media, the top news story should be that. On some mainline outlets, that was a top news story. 3 hostages released. NBC News reported, Trump says, meaning he might be lying. That was a disgrace. Trump says. I never heard when they were Iran deal was signed with Obama, or I never heard them say that's supposedly what Obama's telling us. But that's how NBC reported it. CBS, ABC did the right thing, reported it correctly. And CNN, their top story online had nothing to do with that. Their top story online was something negative about Trump. Why Trump's fake news tweets and this and that. And so that's kind of disgraceful, but then they're not going to stop with that. Now I'm glad that North Korea released those 3 guys, 3 hostages. And just about, if this was Mr. Obama, you'd have every media outlet, mainstream, praising nonstop. And the ones that have to admit that it was a good thing that happened. And the New York Times actually already came out with the article that was printed yesterday, came out today, I guess. It said, look at that. Pompeo was missing in action while he was in North Korea. So that's the little news update. Please pray for my friends. I'm glad I got to. I don't always see all my friends when they have like maybe a bad episode or maybe, and sometimes it's interesting because I'll know, oh, my friend wants to talk. That's John. John is a very good Christian behind me. They call John Knock Knock John. So I just came out of here to get out of the wind. That's little Paisley over there, and this is the first update. God bless everybody.